Today's topic that we're going to learn about is homeostasis. Right now, go ahead and answer the questions that are going to pop up on your screen. Okay, at the top of your notes, it says that cells must transport materials into and out of the cell in order to maintain homeostasis. This is going to be the precursor to our cell transport notes that we'll be going over in the next couple of weeks. So some vocabulary that you're going to need, add this to your personal glossary, page 2. This will make sense once we go over the pictures. So first we have stimulus. A stimulus is anything that can cause a response. So it could be a light, it could be a sound, it could be a temperature change, a pH change. Many things can be stimuli. Next, we have sensors. Sensors are going to be just structures that detect a change in the environment. Okay, next we have the control center. The control center is going to receive information from the sensor and then send signals to its to effectors. And then lastly, the effector. That's the thing that's actually going to carry out the signal from the control center. Okay, starting off with a positive feedback loop. A positive feedback loop is just going to be a process where a stimulus is going to amplify the original stimulus. The repetition of this amplification is going to strengthen the response. So on your picture, you see the word stimulus, and then you have your control center, and then the effector. The arrow that's at the bottom to the effector will go back up to the top with an arrow pointing to the stimulus, meaning that we are going to be strengthening that response. An example for you to write down is blood clotting. So if there's damage to the blood vessel, that's going to be the stimulus. It is going to send a message saying, we need platelets, we need to clot. The body will get that message, and the effector here will be the development of a clot. So platelets and fibrin strands will come together to form a blood clot. The more the blood clots, the more the signal is sent, creating that actual blood clot. That's that repetition. Another common example here would also be childbirth. In childbirth, there is a hormone that is sent out to start contractions. And when contractions progress and get stronger, it's because it's a positive feedback loop. The hormone's going to make the contractions come in faster intervals and also stronger so that child can actually be born. Next, we have negative feedback loops. A negative feedback loop is going to be a change detected by a sensor, and an effector is activated to induce the opposite effect. So the main thing here is that we're going back to homeostasis. This is going to promote equilibrium. So the picture that we have here on the slide is all about body temperature. The yellow color is homeostasis, what you should be. Let's start to the right, if body temperature increases, then the sensor is going to get the signal, it's going to send it to the control center. The effector here is sweat. Sweating cools down the body, and that sweating, the process of sweating, will actually cool back down the body and go back to homeostasis. So we aren't going to continue progressing forward and building intensity. We go back to normal. Same thing to the left, if body temperature decreases, the effector here will start the heating mechanism, which is shivering. That slight movement of your body from shivering causes heat to be released. With heat being released, the body warming up, body temperature is going to increase back to homeostasis. On your picture, you'll see that we have the same words, and at the bottom where the effector is, when it goes to point back up to the stimulus, there's no arrow at the end. Instead, we have a straight line, and that straight line is going to signify that we are not going to amplify. We return back to normal. I just have a couple videos on negative feedback loops that we're gonna watch. So first one's all about temperature regulation.
Temperature regulation. Have you ever wondered why you sweat when you get too hot from running, or shiver on a cold winter's day? Well, in this video we are going to explain why your body behaves like this. Humans are endotherms. This means we are warm-blooded. We keep our body operating at 37 degrees Celsius, regardless of the external conditions. However, this is a real challenge as our environment changes all the time depending on the weather, our clothes, if we are inside by the fire or outside having a snowball fight. So how does this work? Well, it's quite similar to the heating system in a house. In a house is a thermostat that measures the temperature. If the house gets cold, the thermostat will tell the radiators to turn on and heat it up. If it's too hot, they will be told to switch off. Simple. Your body works in just the same way. Here in your brain is a special area called the hypothalamus. It measures the temperature of the blood flowing through it and also collects information from temperature sensors around the body. It then decides if the temperature is too hot or too cold and will try and bring it back to 37 degrees Celsius. If you are too hot, the hypothalamus can then send signals out to the body via the nervous system that can cause various effects. It can send a signal to your skin and cause sweat glands to secrete the sweat onto the surface of the skin. The sweat itself is not cold, but it works because it takes the heat away from your body in order to evaporate it. Another way of losing heat is vasodilation. Look how these blood vessels nearest the surface of the skin open wide and allow blood to flow through them. The heat is radiated from the blood into the air and the blood cools down. If you get too cold, you can do the opposite with these blood vessels and close them off, keeping the blood away from the surface of the skin. This is called vasoconstriction. You can also start to shiver. This is when your muscles contract in order to make heat. Another effect you may have noticed when you are cold are goose pimples. If you look more closely at goose pimples, what you realise is that each of the little bumps has a hair sticking out of it. These hairs are stood up on end to trap a layer of air around the skin. Air is a fantastic insulator of heat, and this will keep you nice and cosy. Did you know that when you pluck a goose, it leaves these little bumps, and that is where the term comes from? All these effects are examples of negative feedback that help with homeostasis. For more information on these processes, watch the...
And I have one more video on osmoregulation for us.
Water is the main constituent of our body, accounting for about 60% of our body weight, and is vital for life. To keep our cells functioning normally, it's important that the water content of our blood is controlled. If the concentration of water in our blood is too high, then water will move into the body cells by osmosis. If too much moves into the cells, then the cells may burst. Conversely, if the concentration of water in our blood is too low, then water will move out of the cells into the blood. This causes the cells to shrink. Our kidneys work with our brain to help regulate our bodily water content. by controlling how much water and salts are reabsorbed and how much is lost as urine. The amount of water reabsorbed in our kidney nephrons is controlled by antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. ADH makes the collecting ducts of the nephrons more permeable so that more water is reabsorbed into the blood. The brain monitors the water content of the blood and instructs the pituitary gland to secrete ADH into the blood according to how much is needed. The following things can change the concentration of the blood: drinking lots of water, which increases blood water content, sweating a lot, reduces blood water content, and eating salty foods. This also reduces blood water content. The whole process of water regulation is an example of a negative feedback system. Let's take a closer look at that. If the water content of the blood decreases, a receptor in our brain detects that the water content is too low. The coordination center in the brain receives the information and organizes a response. The pituitary gland releases ADH, so more water is reabsorbed from the kidneys and more concentrated urine is produced. And the blood water content then returns to normal. If the water content of the blood increases, the opposite occurs. Our brain detects that the water content is too high and directs the pituitary gland to release less ADH, so less water is reabsorbed from our kidneys and more dilute urine is produced. And once again, the blood water content returns to normal. Many medicines and illnesses can affect how our body controls its water content. Therefore, it's important that pharmacists like Sarah and other healthcare workers know how our body regulates this process in order to support patients to manage their illnesses and safely take their medicines.
Okay, last little bit here is going to be working through these scenarios. This is a did you get it? So for the following scenarios, all are going to be examples of organisms maintaining homeostasis. For each one, I want you to describe the initial change, if that change was internal or in its external environment, and then the organism's response. 2 questions will be popping up on this video here for you to type in and answer. So scenario 1 is all about a wolf panting after it chases a rabbit to kill. And scenario 2 is about a human's pupil dilates, aka gets bigger when the room is dark.